Closing argument. Stop what you're doing. Sit down. You got to watch what's going to happen here right now. You have to watch. This is a rare moment on court TV. It's a case involving a man accused of murdering his wife. You saw it here on court TV. Let me remind you the case we're talking about. It's the disappearance and then the murder of Emily Noble, or was it a murder? Take a look.
On May 24, 2020, Emily Noble celebrated her 52nd birthday with her husband, Matthew Moore. The couple started the day with a visit to the city of Bucktail. Around noon, they snapped these photos after stopping for a picnic at the Field of Heroes, a memorial site for fallen soldiers in Westerville. And just before 6 p.m., they visited several bars nearby. Moore says they returned home just after 9 p.m. that night. After they went to bed, Moore said he got up sometime around midnight, left the room because he couldn't sleep, and laid down in his son's room. Moore said he texted family members and a friend between 1 and 5 a.m. Moore said that he woke up at around 11 a.m. Emily wasn't there, but her phone, purse, and keys were at home. He waited until 11:30 to check in on her. They were invited by a distant cousin to meet at a party that afternoon. When he hadn't heard from her, Moore says that he called police to report Emily missing just after 6 p.m. 4 months later, in September 2020, 3 women who were foraging in the woods west of her condo found her body hanging from a tree. It would be almost a year in June of 2021 before police arrested Matthew Moore and charged him with murder.
Do not move! Yes, sir.
Charged with murder. You saw the trial here on court TV, but let me remind you what happened at the end. Here's the verdict.
Verdict on count 1. We, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, find the defendant Matthew L. Moore not guilty of murder as he stands charged in count 1 of the indictment dated the 26th of August 2022, signed by all 12 members of the panel. Verdict on count 2. We, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, find the defendant Matthew L. Moore not guilty of murder as he stands charged in count 2 of the indictment dated 26 August 2022 and signed in ink by all 12 members of the panel. Verdict on count 3. We, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, find the defendant Matthew Moore not guilty of felonious assault as he stands charged in count 3 of the indictment dated August 26, 2022, signed by all 12 members of the panel.
It's a rare moment. It's a rare moment when someone charged with murder hears those 2 words, not guilty. And it happened. There's Matthew Moore inside the courtroom. Now let's bring him in. Joining us from Las Vegas, Nevada, author of Emily, a staged suicide in Ohio, the man who was charged and acquitted in the death of his wife, Emily Noble. Matthew Moore joins us tonight. Matt, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a rare moment for us. I'll be honest, I hardly recognize you because you look much more relaxed and the hair is growing out. How are you doing tonight?
I'm all right, Vinny.
Okay. I want to go back to what we just saw. And it's rare that we get that actually happens in a courtroom. And we were there. Try to explain to folks at home what the moment just before the jury reads those words, what's going through your mind? What are you thinking about? And then what is it like to hear the words not guilty spoken?
It's a hard feeling to express. I had prepared myself for the worst. I figured I'd be better off if I just prepared myself for guilty than I was for not guilty. So when it was not guilty, it was just, I wasn't prepared for it. And it was just this emotion, like this, it was all this pressure that was built since the day I called her in all the way up until that point was just this 2 years of pressure that was just, it just came out. It just let go. It was just so emotional. It was a rush.
And you had been in jail all this time, right, for more than a year?
I called her in. I was arrested 13 months after I called her in, and I was in jail for 15 months. So over 2 years.
So
in jail for 15.
right, in jail for 15 months. So
But, I mean, outside I was like being in jail. I mean, it was horrible. The 13 months that I was accused of murder on the outside was awful.
well,
So.
what's it like now? You're in Las Vegas tonight. I don't know if you've moved. Have you moved? Are you still in the same town? And what's it like when you interact with people now that you have been proclaimed not guilty by a jury?
It's surreal. I got out of Columbus as soon as I got out of jail. I just left. I left as soon as possible. I was told to get out of town because it wasn't safe. So I left.
Who's telling you to get out of town?
I mean,
Who's telling you?
family, over, people just being like, you're better just off getting out of here. Lawyers, sure. Cut your losses and get out of here. Don't sit around here trying to fight things. Just leave, So you got your freedom, man. I mean, just go.
Now, you've written a book, Emily, a Staged...
I have, thank you.
Emily, a Staged Suicide. Let's start with the title. That's the prosecution's theory against you. That you murdered her and staged it as a suicide.
That's what they coined it. It just felt right, like the right name for the book. And when you're accused of something like this, right from the beginning, I was told, right when I first got a lawyer, right in the beginning, you can't say anything to anyone on the phone. You're being recorded. Your phone calls are being recorded. You can't say anything to anyone. So it was like this entire over 2 years of me not talking and telling anybody my story. As soon as I got out, I knew I had to. I just had to put it down on paper, not really to sell a book, just to get my story down on paper so I don't forget things. And that's basically what that is. It's just me telling my story.
What do you think happened to Emily?
She committed suicide. She went up there it was either when John Kramer saw her in the morning or the evening before when I heard her leaving. If you read the book, it's in the book. There's a lot in the book that wasn't at trial. There's a lot I remained silent, so I didn't tell my story. Not even to my lawyers. The what happened that night is in my book. And she committed suicide. I mean, unless there's something that I don't know about, but I just don't. I can't see it. I can't see it happening. It's too odd.
Now, this is something I've always wondered about. You're accused of a crime, right? You say you are 100% innocent. The jury believes the case was not proven against you. We witnessed it ourselves here. Your demeanor, the way you are, did you want to scream? Did you want to yell at someone? Was there anger? What is it that's going through you? They're accusing you of murdering your wife. Murdering your wife, and
you can't you can't say anything to anybody. You're literally just waiting. You're just waiting and waiting. And it's just
how do you?
It's horrible.
Did you have an urge that you wanted to scream, that you wanted to get angry with someone who is saying you are a killer? You should never be free again.
By the time I was in court being accused of those things, I was so beaten down. I mean, it wasn't anything for me to sit there and take that. It really wasn't. It was, and their case was so weak. I don't know how to. They really didn't say anything that I thought was damaging ever.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because I cover cases all the time. I'm a former prosecutor. I'm always very transparent about that. I always say there's a difference between someone could be not guilty, but could have committed the crime because there's no evidence that they did it. And then there's people who are not guilty because they are innocent. Now, obviously, you are saying you are innocent. In your book,
100%.
In your book,
100%.
do you express this? Because you don't tell your story to the jury. So is the book the vehicle for you to talk not about them not proving it, but you showing that you are innocent?
It's me showing that I'm innocent. It's me telling my friends and my family, the people I care about, and her friends who I used to care about me and her family, the story about what happened. It's more of like my story to my friends and my family about what happened. If you really want to know what happened, because I get intimate in the book, I tell you everything. There's not, and there isn't anything I'm holding back from anybody about anything. We actually discuss my trial every Wednesday online with these people, and it's called the Alternate Corner. It's a YouTube page. Every Wednesday we get together during the day and we discuss the trial. If at any point you want to call in or send a message or have a question about any of it, I am there to help answer those questions, because there's so many questions that people have because they don't know. The story that was told by the prosecution just isn't true. I think but Diane, my attorney, proved that at trial, I think. I mean, it wasn't really hard for her to point out that their story didn't make sense, because it did, because it's not true.
Is there
So
is there a level of resentment or bitterness that you have? 15 months, accused murderer? I mean...
I'm homeless. I'm literally homeless. I was wiped out financially by this completely. I mean, they came in and they just destroyed me. I was retired at 49. I had enough money and everything was paid for, and it's all gone. Resentment? I'm happy I'm free. I'm really happy. But am I upset that they took all my money from me? Sure. Yeah, sure. Who wouldn't be? Under what? Why did they do this to me? You tell me. You probably are around this more than I am. So, I mean, why do police and prosecutors knowingly prosecute a guy that's innocent, knowing that they're innocent? Why do they do it? You tell me. Money. I would just think it was money. The guys down at Westerville Police Department, I mean, do they really know what's going on? No. Do they care? No. Money.
What's from your perspective, right? So is there something, and this is a big picture question, is there something in our system, from your perspective, having gone through what you've gone through, that should be changed? Because you got accused, you got your day in court, and the jury of your peers sent you home. But is there something that the system can do better?
I don't know. I don't know how you fix it. From what I brought up, to think that our system's probably the best, comparatively speaking. I mean, you're going to have collateral damage. There are people that are going to be innocent that are going to get sent away. But for the most part, they're just trying to put as many bad guys away as they can. But you have to know that there are people that are going to get clipped like me that are innocent. And I think it's happening way more often than we think. I think there's tons of people that were in my situation. I had money to get an attorney, but if I didn't, who knows how it would have turned out. How do you fix that? I don't know. It's America, right? I just don't know how to fix it. But I mean, there are people that are in prison that are innocent, that are as innocent as I am, and they're there. It's horrifying to think that. So how do you fix it? I don't know.
So what would you say to people who are like, okay, well, is there something you can say tonight that, for people who watch this trial and know the background, that maybe didn't come out in the trial, or maybe it did come out in the trial, that's like, this is why I'm innocent, why it's impossible that I could have committed this murder?
You just have to watch the trial. It's all there. It's easy. The jury was out for literally 10 minutes. There was no evidence against me except circumstantial evidence.
I get it. I get that they didn't have the evidence that you did it, but is there something that says well, listen, this is why I'm innocent. Like I'm not that you can't prove it, that I'm innocent.
John Kramer, my neighbor from across the street, saw Emily after the fact on Monday between 9 and 10. It's undisputed. He saw her. And they say I killed her the night before. She was alive the next day. And there's other pieces of evidence like that all through it. What more evidence do you need? I don't know what else. I mean, there's people out there, it doesn't matter what you show them. They're just going to think I'm guilty. It doesn't matter what you do, what you say.
So are you able to walk around? I mean, the first thing I said is your appearance has changed. Is that on purpose, or is this just the way you like to be, or is it to for people not to recognize you, so you can just kind of live a relatively normal life?
I'm not worried about people. I really am. I'm not. I'm back home. I'm in Vegas. People here know me. I wouldn't want to live in Westerville, but I'm not. No,
So
I'm
Vegas is your
I'm not
original
afraid.
home.
25 years before I moved to Westerville, yeah. So.
And, I mean, do you get it? Do people treat you any differently than they did before? Like, is there,
Yeah,
is there like a little...
I've lost a lot of friends, and I've lost a lot of family that just don't know because they want to believe police. They want to believe government. I don't blame them. But, I mean, if you watch my trial, I don't see how anybody could come to any other conclusion that I was innocent. There's no evidence that I did. None. Zero. So, because I spoke to her in the past tense 2 days later, that's evidence to you that I killed my wife? That's stupid. That's ridiculous. You can't. And I had a jury that was smart enough to see through all that nonsense.
Did you ever have an opportunity to speak to any of the jurors?
Yeah, I have a really good friend. Her name's Connie. She's going to be on Dateline tonight, actually. She's been a Facebook friend when I came out with the book. She wrote a review for me for my book. She's a sweet lady, and she's become a really good friend of mine. Her name's Connie. Juror number 8.
Juror number 8. Juror number 8.
Juror number 8.
Now, the smile that we're seeing tonight, is that legit? Like, is that like there's happiness? It's real.
I'm free, man. I mean, they tried to murder me. I was up against the state of Ohio. Those people are intimidating. That whole thing is intimidating. I've never been up against anything like that. I just thought I was going to go to prison for the rest of my life. I had no idea. And then Diane, my lawyer, I mean, I can't believe that it all fell into place, and they came in and they saved me. So I feel saved.
All right, before we run out of time, I want to ask you an open-ended question. Again, the name of the book is Emily, A Staged Suicide. Is there anything else that you think people should know or you want to tell people tonight about the book, the trial, your life, our system that I have not asked you?
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Very nice of you. The media. Watch out for the media. Don't always believe everything they're telling you. They're selling something, right? So you have to take that into account. I was guilty as guilty could be in the eyes of the public because of the media, not because of anything else. And so just be wary when you hear things from even court TV, if they might come on and push things one way or the other. And the other thing is if you ever get in trouble and your spouse goes missing, you're gonna need their help to find her. So you're gonna be talking, but get a lawyer as soon as you can. That's just the most important thing, because they're gonna take what you say and these little discrepancies here and there, and they're gonna use it against you, and they're gonna bring a charge against you. So you just get a lawyer as fast as you can if you can afford one.
Well, Matt Moore, great to see you tonight. I appreciate the time. This is a rare moment for me to speak to someone who's been through what you've been through. The name of the book is Emily, A Staged Suicide, and good luck out in Vegas.
Thanks, man. You guys did good with my trial, man. I appreciate the way you covered it. It was pretty good.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Matt.
All right, man.